I'm back.
Bluntly.
Down on the ground.
One is you need to do everything local, even if you think globally. It means that you don't have to have a networked strategy.
Bluntly, and bluntly.
Growth be considered as a panacea concerning development.
Economic growth in the Congo is on the paper, but it's not the reality.
There's evidence, especially among students, people graduating. You can see.
It may be strong, but people who are dealing with it, this is the problem. Or white people are not.
Bluntly, oui, Vanessa Yombrania.
From time immemorial, nobody has eaten omelette without bringing eggs. That's why we must polish up economic strategies in order to skyrocket. Do you have any ideas about economic development and welfare? Join us in this program. Bluntly, and bluntly. Everything is under control. Keep in touch.
Hello everybody, welcome to the program Bluntly and Bluntly. Everything is under control. Everything is definitely under control. In this program, today's Bluntly is unprecedented because we're focusing on something vitally important, the civil rights movement in the United States of America. This program comes within the framework of Martin Luther King fight for freedom in the United States of America. To make things more clear, I have the privilege to introduce to you, my viewers, the American Ambassador, James Swan. Hello.
How do you do? Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, are you willing to speak bluntly today?
Absolutely, always.
Yes, thank you very much. You have been in the Democratic Republic of Congo since 2013. Do you feel very welcome in DRC?
I feel extremely welcome in the DRC. People are extraordinarily warm. I had the privilege of serving here, working here, living here from 1998 to 2004 also, and it's been wonderful to reconnect with old friends, but meet many new ones as well.
Yes. Do you know Congolese? Do you go, here and there to discuss with Congolese people? How do they live? How do they take each day as it comes? Things are not easy,
Yes,
life
indeed.
is challenging in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
That's certainly true. And we've had the opportunity over many years to visit many locations throughout the country,
Yes.
many neighborhoods here in Kinshasa,
Yes.
eat a lot of Congolese food.
Do you
Here,
like Congolese food?
I do indeed.
Yes.
Lots of different dishes. So,
And are you happy to be in Congo?
I am indeed extremely happy to be in Congo and here on your program.
Thank you very much. But now, the first question about our today's topic, how can you describe civil rights movement in the United States of America?
Well, the civil rights movement really has been a movement that has developed over time, calling for greater equality, greater rights and freedoms for all Americans. It's particularly associated with the African American community, of course, because of the history of that community, having in most cases arrived in the U.S. As part of the slave trade, a very sad time in the history of Africa, also in the history of the United States. Ultimately, slavery ended during the Civil War in 1865. However, that community continued to face many challenges, many disadvantages in our society. Denial of access to quality educational institutions. In many cases, difficulty gaining access to their legitimate rights as citizens to vote and to enjoy equal protection of justice. And so this movement, particularly in the 1940s, 50s, and beyond, staked a strong, vocal, peaceful claim to those rights that they are entitled to as citizens of our country.
Challenges are still there. Are you sure that one day those challenges can be met, And
well, as in every country, I'm not sure we ever get to a completely perfect situation, but there's no doubt that the progress that's been made in terms of civil rights has been extraordinary in the United States. As you say, much more remains to be done.
Yes.
But certainly if you look at the gains made in the 1950s and early 1960s,
things are getting better.
Absolutely. I think if you look even in the 1950s with the Brown versus Board of Education decision that stated very clearly that separate facilities for whites and for blacks were inherently unequal, and that had to stop. And that later led to an expansion of educational opportunities for the African American community. And those effects are being seen in every walk of life in the United States today.
Good. What was the main purpose of Martin Luther King when he said, "I have a dream"? That's, the motto. I have a dream.
I have a dream. Well, I think it speaks a bit to your earlier question. How can things be perfect? How can they be everything that we want in our country?
Yes.
In his dream, he spoke specifically about the kinds of opportunities that his children, in essence, that future generations of African Americans could have in the United States. And that's what he speaks of, a dream in which his children, black children in general, would be judged, as he said, not by the color of the skin, but by the content of their character. That is, what they could do, what they could achieve, what they had in their heads, not what they looked like from the outside.
Yes. In 2016, you're going to elect a new president.
Correct.
And after Obama, do you think the next president is going to keep inviting African leaders, young African leaders, to go to Washington and to American universities for training? Are you sure you'll keep doing the same?
Obviously, it will be a decision for the next president and the next administration. Yes. But what I can tell you is that there is no doubt in the United States that our relationship with Africa is extraordinarily important, and that relationship and our efforts to continue to develop those ties at a governmental level, at a commercial level, but especially at the people-to-people level, and especially with the youth who are emerging as the future leaders of the continent. I think that commitment will remain solid regardless of who's in the White House.
Yeah. What's your point of view about DRC's ongoing electoral process? What can you say about it?
Well, clearly, it's extremely important that this process go forward. As you are, I'm sure, aware, the United States believes very strongly that democratic reforms are essential throughout the continent, and that we would like to see them further reinforced here in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As we've said repeatedly, the Constitution is clear that the presidential election must be held next year, and that we are certainly encouraging that a peaceful transfer of power take place at that time.
If there are logistic problems, what will happen if the DRC doesn't hold an election in 2016?
Well, I think it's
the legislative and the presidential.
I think it's very important that all of the Congolese political actors examine the calendar and examine what is planned to ensure that, in fact, the elections can take place on schedule.
Yes. And are you sure that Congolese elections are going to be, peaceful, democratic, and credible?
Well, it's very important that the elections be peaceful, democratic, and credible. We are outsiders, we're foreigners, but our assessment is that's what the Congolese people want to see here. They want peaceful and democratic, credible elections that give them an opportunity to select their leaders freely and fairly. This is a critical component of freedom in any country. It's a commitment that is enshrined in the Congolese Constitution. It's a commitment to elections that the president of the Congo, that the government, and that others have repeated often. And so now I think what's important is to conclude the difficult but essential practical work of organizing free, fair, peaceful, credible elections within the mandated timeframes.
Yeah, when we look at the reality, it appears that there is a bone of contention between the majority and the opposition. How to settle, the differences between both parties?
Well, I think that's an issue that obviously the Congolese political actors will have to examine. They're here in Kinshasa. There are institutions through which those matters can be discussed, in Parliament, for example. And so I think there are many opportunities for those issues to be raised. But again, for us, it's extremely important that there be free, fair, credible elections within the constitutionally mandated time frames. This is a tremendous opportunity for the Congo, a historic opportunity to demonstrate that the first peaceful transfer of power in the nation's history can in fact take place. And we believe with goodwill and hard work, it indeed can.
Does the civil society play its role accordingly?
Well, certainly the civil society has a very important role to play in helping to communicate the views of certain groups in society. Of course, in a democracy, ultimately it's the election, and it's the individual exercising his or her right to vote in the election that determines who rules and the course of the country. But also, particularly in a situation such as this in the Congo, it can be important for some groups to work through civil society in order to express their views even prior to elections. And so certainly as part of the U.S. activities here, we continue to work closely with a wide range of civil society groups, women, youth, business community, and others to help ensure that they too have a voice in this social and political discussions that are going on.
And what's the U.S. contribution in this electoral process?
Yes, we have in the past contributed directly to various election-related activities, and it is our intent again with the coming cycle to contribute in areas such as electoral observation, dissemination of public information about the electoral process, support for Congolese institutions that assist in resolving electoral disputes, and indeed some technical assistance to those institutions responsible for organizing the elections. So we expect to have a package of assistance along those lines to support the process. Beyond that, of course, the U.S. Is a major supporter of MONUSCO financially, and MONUSCO in the past has been an important contributor.
Do you trust Congolese leaders? Do you trust Congolese leaders?
I trust Congolese leaders as I trust human beings. My initial approach is that we should take people at their word with good faith and count on them to do the right thing.
Yes. Now we have 40 seconds. Look at the camera. Your, last message, to our viewers who are watching in Kinshasa and around the world. What can you tell them about freedom and democracy in the United States of America?
I think that in the United States, although we face many continued challenges in terms of building a fully free society, that the progress that's been made is remarkable. And let us remember that Dr. Martin Luther King, his efforts and the achievements since his speech in 1963 would have been unimaginable to many Americans in the late 1950s. So with hard work, leadership, commitment, dreams can be achieved.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All is well, that ends well. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Kinshasa, we are Democratic Republic of Congo. All the best, and keep in touch. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Yes.
I'm back!
Bluntly.
Down on the ground.
One is you need to do everything local, even if you think globally. It means that you don't have to have a networked strategy.
Bluntly, and
This
bluntly.
growth be considered as a panacea concerning development.
Economic growth in the Congo is on the paper, but it's not the reality.
There's evidence, especially among students, people graduating. You can
It
see
may be strong, but people who are dealing with it, this is the problem. Or white people are not.
Bluntly, oui, Vanessa Yombrania.
From time immemorial, nobody has eaten omelette without bringing eggs. That's why we must polish up economic strategies in order to skyrocket. Do you have any ideas about economic development and welfare? Join us in this program. Bluntly, and bluntly. Everything is under control. Keep in touch.